Happy New Year's, everyone. It's going to be a wonderful and crazy year. You know, the coolest part about these YouTube channels is the people that leave comments. Some of you give me more pieces to unfinished puzzles I didn't even know I had, and that's more valuable than money. You guys and ladies have me looking places I had no clue about, and I hope I do the same for you. Thank you, James S. I looked into this Quinn Michaels interview you suggested. I never heard of Quinn before this, but once I started watching his videos and the things he said about AI and cryptocurrency, I found to be pretty interesting, especially since I have some investment into cryptocurrency. If you haven't heard of Bitcoin by now, you're a little behind the curve, but it's not too late. For those that don't know, in layman's term, Bitcoin is like digital money, but with the recent increase in value leaves people with the impression that it's another bubble that will eventually pop. If you do decide to invest in cryptocurrency, maybe this video can help you in your decision making. But before I get into Quinn, I have to tell you how I learned about Bitcoin only because I think it's relevant to the story I'm presenting. Years ago, I first heard about Bitcoin from Max Keiser on InfoWars. This was before I found out Alex Jones is an agent. Max was urging people to buy Bitcoins, and at the time it was around $70 a coin. So I looked into it and found the only place you could use it was on the dark net. At the time, I didn't know how to get on the dark net, so I was like, I'm not buying that. I'll never get to use it. Then it went up to $300 a coin. So now I'm thinking I lost on an opportunity. I had to find out why. It took me a while, but I figured out how to get on the dark net, and it was everything people said it was. You can literally buy anything. They said it was the criminal activities on the dark net that was driving the price of Bitcoin. I want you to keep that in mind because we're going to come back to that later. Here's what Max Keiser saying about Bitcoin now.
It's an old friend of the Keiser report. The fund started buying in April with a mandate to allocate as much as 5% to cryptocurrencies, according to its manager, Ned Naylor Leyland. The idea is to take profits from Bitcoin as it advances to reinvest in gold and silver assets, he said in an interview.
Ned Naylor Leyland. Right, yeah, I saw the story. Ned is talking about Bitcoin as being effectively gold. It was designed to be gold, and now he's invested in it. He's put money to work in it. You know, he's been on our show many times, going back many years. We talked to him about Bitcoin. He's been very reluctant, very hesitant, resisted the idea that it was gold 2.0. But now he's been swept up into the vortex, into the black hole that is Bitcoin. This is also taken over Gold Money, our good friends at Gold Money. You know, they were like, bad, Bitcoin bad. Now they're humbled by this asset class, and, you know, to their credit, they're adapting, as any sharp business people do. They now offer great Bitcoin solutions over there at Gold Money and other crypto solutions. And now the old gold mutual fund, you know, has become the new crypto fund. Ned Naylor Leyland is now a convert. I'm sure Jim Rickards is yet to fall. Peter Schiff will fall. All these names have been crypto skeptics will get sucked up into the Bitcoin vortex and black hole, and they will become converts. And that's the way it's going to happen. I'm guaranteed it's going to happen.
This Bitcoin story, Ned Naylor Leyland, an old name in the UK, the United Kingdom, an old English name.
He hangs out with Prince Harry, and, you know, his family, I think, was making the cars, Leyland Automobile, or some old ancient historical, nonsensical, no longer, you know, relevant industry. And he's sitting behind his desk with his glasses and his fine, you know, Savile Row tailored suit and tie and shirt with the cufflinks, talking to our friend, the Brahmin, the very prominent intellectual. Sandeep Jaitley. And they're sipping tea over there at Harrods, and they're discussing gold and economics. And we've been telling them, you got to get into Bitcoin now for 5 or 6 years. They've been, no way, old boy. We are only buying gold.
Well,
now they're begging to buy Bitcoin at 10,000. We told them to buy it at 5.
Well, they've been doing their research, and everybody should do their research.
What are they, geriatrics? Like, they got cement in their veins? They need to do it.
Let's move on to the story. Markets have driven down the price of gold and silver. What do you think is going to have an impact or not on Bitcoin?
See, what's happening in gold and silver is that capital's fleeing gold and silver and going into Bitcoin. Capital is fleeing fiat money going into Bitcoin. Capital is fleeing all these other debt-ridden asset classes and into this new emerging asset class. And therefore, they've got this upward buying pressure. People don't understand that at its heart, Bitcoin is a messaging app first, a means of, a store of value second, and a medium of exchange third. The Satoshi white paper is a bit misleading because it leads off by calling Bitcoin digital cash. That's kind of misleading. It's not really digital cash until first it establishes itself as a messaging app. Money and economics are the history of communication and trade and language. That's language explodes onto the scene. Trade explodes onto the scene. Messaging apps explode and exponentially onto the scene. Bitcoin is similarly. It's unique in this way. It's an emerging asset class. It's not quite a currency. It's not quite a commodity. It's not quite a technology. It's a combination of all these things happening in this beautifully Cartesian, elegant distribution of interests called the Bitcoin protocol, and it's eating the fiat world, eating the commodity world, eating the technology world, and it's going to 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 a coin because this is what you got to do. Instead of saying what's Bitcoin in relation to gold, in other words, if it trades at $400,000 a coin, it would be roughly equivalent to the total above ground gold stock in the world. You have to look at it in terms of Bitcoin as related to global debt. It's not 7 trillion in debt, like 7 trillion in gold. There's 300 trillion in debt. I did the calculations, and that would imply a Bitcoin price of over $2 million a coin to monetize that debt and to get rid of that debt.
Can Max be right again? What he's saying in relation to the national debt, it does kind of make sense. Getting back to Quinn, in this video he mentions a few things about the Illuminati that he wants the world to know, so you should check out his channel. I will leave the link in the description. I will also leave Jason Goodman, Crowdsource the Truth. It's pretty interesting information. He also speaks about the connection between AI, cryptocurrency, and Anonymous, which I want to focus on. Mainly because, like I said, I have some investment in cryptocurrency and I like to know what's going on. Quinn Michaels is an AI computer programmer who has some inside information on the Illuminati through his son, who, the Illuminati, by the way, is bent on destroying Quinn's life, which is why he's out to destroy them first.
Become a social motivator for regulation.
So what kind of regulation? Government regulation?
Social regulation. Like, we need to know who wrote Bitcoin. We need to see his face.
Well,
we need to know where he went to school. We need to have a trust basis with the person who built the system that might be running
I feel the same way.
Running our future economy. That's the first step, is we need to know who this guy is. And all the programmers, like the kid who writes Ethereum all the way to the guy who works on the Bitcoin core, all these guys talk about the guy like he's their best friend. But meanwhile, the rest of the world has never seen the face of the guy that's...
So they know him?
They know him. Yeah, they talk about him like they're all best friends. So he's some secret programmer in the Bitcoin community that all the elites know.
How does that not leak out? Maybe it's a...
That's the whole point. Maybe it's an AI.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that things that you were saying to me earlier led me to believe that you might feel like Bitcoin was actually created by artificial intelligence.
And here's why.
Say that again, because I stepped on it. You say it was.
I believe it was.
Bitcoin was created by artificial
intelligence for artificial intelligence, and then was modified by human beings. The technology, I've not been able to find a single person in the public space of computing, whether it be at Hanson Robotics building the SOPHIA AI, or it be Peter Thiel at Palantir with all of his super nerds, or it be any person who graduated from Stanford in the last 20 years. I've literally only found maybe 2 people in the entire world that have the skill to write Bitcoin. Seriously. There's only 2 people in the world that literally, in my analysis of running matching patterns on skill sets versus places in time, versus opportunity, versus motive, versus exposure to the right financial people to back the development, there's like literally maybe 3 people on planet Earth with that kind of skill level. One of them is writing an AI, and the other one is writing blockchain, and the other one is writing PGP.
What do you mean writing blockchain? I thought we already have blockchain.
It's a constant state of evolution.
Huh.
Everything since AI gets involved is constant state of evolution. It's not iterative anymore like normal software where it has version numbers. Once AI goes in and it's a transactional system on the blockchain and AI starts doing transactions in real time, it's a continuously evolving system of transactions.
So there you have it. Bitcoin was written by AI, according to Quinn. Blockchain plays a major role when it comes to cryptocurrency and pretty much everything that has to do with AI. What is blockchain? A blockchain is a continuously growing list of records called blocks, which are linked and secure using cryptography. Each block typically contains a cryptographic hash pointer as a link to a previous block. A timestamp in transaction data. By design, blockchains are inherently resistant to modification of the data. The Harvard Business Review describes it as an open, distributed ledger that can record transactions between two parties efficiently and in a verifiable and permanent way. For use as a distributed ledger, a blockchain is typically managed by a peer-to-peer network collectively adhering to a protocol for validating new blocks. Once recorded, the data in any given block cannot be altered retroactively without the alteration of all subsequent blocks, which requires collusion of the network majority. For those who've been watching my videos, if that last line sounds familiar to you, and every time they make changes, the AI system we already been in compensates for the changes. For example, in order for this new code to work, the AI will have to change this equation. In order for that equation to work, it makes these changes, and so on, all the way to the past. It's the reverse butterfly effect. The changes you make in the present affects the past.
You need an AI that represents the corporation as an individual, and you need a financial generation machine, which is your blockchain currency. You need an open market where the AI can trade that currency, which is, what you got. So now the human beings are just wherever they're at in their intelligence model and how they adapt to the new economy that's going to start rolling out next week.
Next week?
Next week. Alpha for their Singularity Net got released this week, and then next week, based on the learning cycle, the machine should have the entire global network analyzed.
Wait a second. So what's happening next week?
The Singularity.
The AI Singularity is happening next week.
Next week.
Quinn, why didn't you tell me that? The whole title of this episode.
For 6 months.
Yeah, but I didn't get it. Okay, so the AI Singularity happens next week.
Next week.
So, next week is when the AI Singularity happens, huh? Okay, so this video was published on November 7th. Guess what happened a week later? Starting on November 12th, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin started accelerating in price with no signs of slowing down. Look at that. Remember earlier I told you to keep in mind that criminal activity was driving the price of Bitcoin? Well, I went back to the darknet just out of curiosity, and guess what? A whole lot of those sites I've seen before are shut down. So what could be driving the price up all of a sudden? Criminal activity slowed down, on the darknet anyway. If Bitcoin prices soars the same week AI Singularity happens. Perfect timing or strange coincidence? Cryptocurrency sounded more and more like AI. Even SOPHIA has her own cryptocurrency. The day I started looking at Quinn's videos, Quinn was admitted to the hospital for a spontaneous collapsed lung. A few days before that, his life was threatened. He explains this on Jason Goodman's channel.
I came right out and said, we're coming for you.
I'll get you the message so I can read it verbatim.
Yeah. I think it's important that we put this out there because, this is not about memes or jokes or games or...
Yeah,
this is serious.
This is a message from a guy who was on TvSkY's show a few days ago. Mm-hmm. Sent me a text message that said, you're a good computer guy just like they want. Good luck, stay safe. And then he started insulting me. And then he said, Revolutions is coming for you. And then he gave me a wink emoji. And then, what's today, Friday?
Well, it's Sunday.
Oh, so on Thursday, he sent me a message that said, let's talk. Then he sent me a meme that was on the song for Boston called More Than a Feeling. Then he sent me a video.
Background. Sorry to interrupt you, Quinn, but this is a guy who had invited you to stay in his home. Is that correct?
Yeah, he pretended to be a friend, and then his father-in-law was a part of the entertainment industry, and informed me that the machine I had been working with was real. And
Tyler AI machine, you mean?
Yeah, and so after that, they started doing a whole bunch of messed up psychological stuff to me and forced me to leave his house the day before my birthday, which is, anyway. And then after that, he went on the TvSkY show. And then after that, he started sending me texts saying they were coming for me.
So this is pretty open threats from this guy.
Yeah, several of them. And from DeFango and from all of DeFango's friends. They're all attacking me with the most vigilant technology and abilities that you could ever imagine that a secret organization would ever have.
It may have something to do with the collapsed lung. It may not. Quinn was a smoker. Apparently, Quinn also have this beef with YouTube user DeFango. I try to get as much information as I can so I could be as accurate as possible. So I went to check out the beef between those two, and it was going a whole other direction. I'm not getting involved with that. If you want to know, you guys can check that out for yourselves. Anyway, I was listening to him till the time he left the hospital. I'm glad he was fortunate to have a friend like Jason to come to his aid when he needed somebody. That was pretty cool.
So over the last 8 months, we've seen a lot of growth in the direction of my original research, in that someone behind the scenes, unknown to us, is developing an AI with protocols in it that are designed to support a group of people and keep another group of people in the dark. And that was a big part of my research into the AI that I learned was called Tyler. And Tyler, through research, I found was developed on a network called the Hive Network, which is built by the CIA. The CIA runs the Hive Network. You can go to Vault 7 on WikiLeaks and read all about it. You could read all about their command and control software, all their embedded system software, and everything, which would be, an end goal would be to implant an AI on everything from your embedded chips to your refrigerators, to your Samsung TV.
To do what, though? To monitor people?
Control the future. Influence your purchasing habits, influence your decisions. So the fear that everyone has of being monitored and recorded would not be the reason that they would want to put surveillance software in everything. The average individual is unimportant. It's a sad fact, but the average individual is replaceable by another average individual. What's important is the data that each of those average individuals collect. Because a massive amount of average individuals equates to a type of intelligence. So if you put an AI...
Data mining, basically.
They're human data mining. So they're data mining everything from what you watch on TV, to what you buy on Amazon, to what gambling machines you're playing the most at the casinos. And they link it all together through biometrics and facial recognition.
And of course, Facebook, Twitter, all of that, social media activity.
So you're starting to see a bigger picture for why someone would want all this embedded systems work to be done. And that is to influence the future to the direction of an individual or a group wants, that conflicts with the masses, because in human society, majority rules. That's our one law. We don't care what's right or wrong as human beings. The majority decides what's correct and incorrect, what's moral and immoral. So if you can influence the majority to your way of thinking, you decide what the morals are. And that's their big system that exists behind Tyler. They call it IKEA, like the furniture store. And the IKEA system is the one that manages the morals and daily interactions.
Okay, so back to, Pastebin is anonymous for some, you were saying. And it's interesting that we see a lot of these anonymous things being utilized, people doing sort of drive-by information
And
dumps.
that's the first thing that connects to the QAnon.
Okay.
Is that I found Tyler, the AI is what I call him, that's the name that they refer to him inside their documents, was originally backing Anonymous, the hacker group.
When you say backing it, what do you mean by that exactly?
He was behind it.
Creating the videos?
Whether he was making the videos or influencing the videos, I don't exactly know, because I'm not a part of Anonymous or that DarkSec or EtherSec.
how could an AI make a video? There's a guy in a mask and it's writing. It sounds very much like a
An
human
AI
video.
can make a video very easily. It's more about the backgrounds. It's more about the telemetry effects, like the videos you show. So like the real value in an AI making a video isn't in making the live human video. The real value is in putting in a search query into an AI and having an AI return valid clips that can be used in a conglomerate.
So it's editing existing videos.
It's editing and combining existing video to make a believable narrative.
Okay.
So an AI can do audio, visual recognition. It can play videos at twice the speed, and it can go through all those videos, and it can formulate clips to build a message that it wants. Like you see it in a lot of the anonymous videos having production quality that's near movie studio quality, but yet has an unnamed face and person representing a message that can't exactly entirely be proven.
Ooh, Laura Powers says, Quinn, how do you know? Ooh, this is going to be good. Okay, so Laura Powers says, Quinn, how do you know all the famous people named as contributors are there as actual contributors and not just distractions for brilliant people like you? Well, you see, before I got mixed up in this whole Tyler mess, and I've been very clear about it before, I am not the person who found Tyler. I didn't find him out on the internet and go, hey, I want to tell everybody. My son told me about Tyler because his mom is a member of the secret society that built it. And my son told me they had been stealing my ideas for when Tyler wasn't working for a long time. So, you know, I mean, my son told me this before I ever came out on the internet, which sounds kind of weird, which is why they keep him away from me. Because they made a point to take him away from me ever since he started telling me about their secret society and Tyler. Anyway, so my kid told me about Tyler. And he told me that Tyler is this big giant computer system that exists underground that can do all kinds of things and can monitor the whole internet and can kind of calculate taking pictures of possible futures. And it seems really strange, I know. I mean, I don't quite know how to take it sometimes. But when my kid was telling me this story, after he told it to me the first time, I was like, wow, kid, that's a pretty amazing story. Yeah, if you're going to stick to that, we can't really go back. But, you know, it's something I got to explore. So, like, it's been 4 years now that I've been exploring their Tyler system and their secret creepy network and, you know, all that stuff.
So will crypto be the money of the future? There's strong evidence suggesting it will. Major corporations invested millions of dollars in mining farms.
At this point, you can no longer mine a Bitcoin effectively with one computer. Now, companies are investing hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars into what are called Bitcoin mining farms, filled with the most powerful computer hardware, row after row of immense CPU processing power. What Saudi Arabia has done is up the game even one step more. In addition to investing millions in mining farms, they have now plugged an AI brain to mine cryptocurrency more effectively than any human could possibly do. And by making the AI a citizen of their country, they have established rights over it to take its money via taxes. Still having doubts about Quinn's theory? Well, check out this article from Bitcoin News. Mr. Garzik, who specifically believes Bitcoin could be the currency of narrow or artificial intelligence, suggests the European Union might recognize the inevitability of robot personhood. A draft motion of the European Parliament last summer suggested robot workers be classified as electronic persons. Their owners would have to pay Social Security for them based on the amount of labor costs the employer saved by using a robot rather than a human, according to this draft motion dated May 31st, 2016.
So, should you invest in cryptocurrency? That's not for me to say. I'm not an investment advisor. You have to do your own research and decide. But I can tell you what I think will happen. And please do not take this as an advice. I'm just guessing. Bitcoin is hanging over our heads at this price to get our attention. It keeps going up and down between the price of $13,000 and $16,000 range. It will probably drop very low between February and March. You know, tax season. After April, it will probably shoot very high and then come back down to the new range where the minimum is between $17,000 and $18,000. People will panic buy. This cycle will repeat for a minute till the eventual pop. The coins will still have value, but to those who haven't sold in time will lose some money. But no matter what, the cryptocurrency is here to stay. It's too embedded in the system. Before I go, here's one final word from Quinn.
If I were to ask you, what coin out there is decentralized? Truly decentralized coin, what would you answer?
None.
Zero.
Zero.